Pulsex and Pulsechain have something in common with Tesla, and that relates to the S-curve of adoption. Tesla is riding two gargantuan adoption curves for ICE engine vehicles to EVs, so that's internal combustion engine vehicles to EV, which is electronic vehicle, right? They're riding that curve, as well as dumb vehicles to smart vehicles. Think back when there was flip phones and people used flip phones, and then they got to smartphone. Dumb phone, smartphone. Same idea, but it's happening with cars. Tesla's riding both of those things. And in this video, I want to show how Pulsex and Pulsechain and crypto in general is riding an S-curve for its adoption. To do that, we first need to understand how an S-curve works and how the overall adoption or market cycle works. Then we're going to take a look at some actual examples in the marketplace. So real world data, like is this just an idea made up in academia, or is it based upon actual data? So we're going to take a look at that. And then we're going to take a look at some real world data from today, really as it relates to crypto, to back this up. And then I'm going to show you my estimate for crypto adoption by 2026. I believe it's going to be over a certain amount. It is probably going to shock you based upon this data, because people don't understand, do not understand exponential growth. So if you want to see all of that, make sure you stay tuned. But first, if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it's good to frickin' see you. Now, if you are returning, make sure you are pressing that subscribe button. You have already come here before. Why didn't you already do it, right? And for the people who are brand new, it is great to see new people trying to grow the channel. So if you find value in this video, make sure you share it out. Share it on Twitter. Tag me on Twitter. Jump down below and say what's up on Twitter. Follow me and talk about this kind of stuff over there regularly. So I actually found Tesla back in 2010. The first article I wrote for Tesla was on Seeking Alpha, I believe in 2013. So the article's still up there, around when they did their first Gigafactory and they came out with the deal with Panasonic. I talked about that and how it's an option. It's similar to an option. Anyway, so you can go check out that article. 2013. I saw what was going on with Tesla, right, way before everybody else did. And as I continued to pay attention to what was happening with Tesla, I realized that they're riding those two S-curves from internal combustion engine to EVs and from dumb cars to smart cars. There's probably going to be somebody who watches who doesn't think this is going to happen. Guarantee you, this is going to happen. By 2030, having an internal combustion engine vehicle or selling one is going to be something that does not take place very often. Like 90+% of the market is going to be EVs, whether you like it and you're tied to your gas car or not. And as I went through this process of watching this play out, I was like, oh damn, this is correct. And I'll keep watching it play out, watch it over the course of 10 years or like 12, 13 years. With Tesla, I'm watching this happen, right? This adoption curve, and then it's getting into that exponential growth, and I'm like, damn, the same thing is happening in crypto. People are not even fucking aware of it. So I wanted to do this video and highlight this because nobody's talking about this, and it's literally happening. So let's look at the adoption curve. You've probably seen charts like this in school before or online, where it goes through and it's like innovators, that's 2.5% of the marketplace, right? And then early adopters, and then late majority, and then early majority, then late majority, then laggards, right? Well, what if you take this chart and you tip it on its side and you use that, right, to gauge how many people are actually in the market, right? Because it's saying 2.5 to 13.5, 34, and 34, and 16, right? Well, when you do that, you get this. So this chart, right, same thing. Innovators 2.5, early adopters, their line here is 10%, early majority is 50%, early still says early majority here 20%, and then laggards to get to 100%, right? So it's the same thing, it's just tipped on its side, and you're aggregating them all together here. Keep this in mind. This is what the S curve looks like. Keep this in mind because we're going to take a look at first some actual technology and how it was adopted. Then we're going to take a look at 2 real-world data points that anybody can pull up to take a look at the same exact data that I'm seeing. And then we're going to get into my estimates. When we take a look at this, this is the adoption rate of technology in the United States. There's a couple things to highlight. So first of all, look over here where this is 1900 to 1910, etc. Right? And you get to see certain things like the telephone, right? I think that's the first thing up here. To get up to, 80% took, from 1900 till 1965 or something roughly. And say something like this one here, which is electricity, it went from, 10% or something in around 1905-ish to, say, 80% in 1935, right? But one thing that you can notice about these is that as you go closer to 2010, make sure you guys can see this, I'll zoom up a little bit. As you go closer to 2010, the lines of adoption are far more vertical, right? These are laid out and they're more curved, right? Where these are far more vertical. You can see here a tablet, right? Almost straight vertical with over 50% of adoption in a couple of years. What is this one? Smartphone, and then social media, right? They go from basically 0 to smartphone in, I got my first smartphone in maybe 2005 or 2006 or something like that. And then they have, maybe it was 2004, I don't remember, but smartphones went from 0 or close to 0 to over 90% in a very short period of time, number of years, right? And one of the things to keep in mind here, because we're about to talk about some crypto data, and when you look at your phone, right? I've got mine right here, one of them right here. This has gone from basically garbage to being more powerful than the computer NASA used to get into space in the 70s, right? And this continues to get better and better with each new year, and there's a bunch of companies that continue to iterate on them to make them even better. So that this now, you can just run a business off of this, basically, right? Well, the same thing is happening in crypto with the number of new projects that are coming out almost on a daily basis, probably on a daily basis if you look at crypto in general. I've just in the last 60 days, I've probably seen 10 brand new projects that are launched or announced that they are launching in 60 days. And that's just my microcosm of awareness in crypto. That same type of thing is happening all across crypto. So what if we could find some type of data that kind of confirmed this, right? Well, there's a site that I like to use to pull up research papers, NCBI. And when you pull up this on research, it's NCBI or PubMed, right? You put in the word crypto. I have only seen this one other time as exponential curve here, and that was with stem cells. If you put in stem cells, because I also research stuff on fitness related stuff, like that's like, oh, that's like a perfect, ideal exponential curve here, right? And you get to see that we in crypto are probably in the early stages somewhere along here, right? But this looks exactly like this, right? See the similarities? Oh wow, it's starting to pick up pace. Today is the May 9th. We're at 20. So this is, what is this saying, right? This is research papers and things that are being released, or meta-analysis and white papers being released in a database of just research papers, right? So this is universities, this is governments, this is the military, this is any company, and also any company that has a research arm. This is, all of those are pouring money into crypto. All of those things that are governments, universities. You look at the pensions of universities. Some of them have massive endowments. I went to the University of Rochester. I think, excuse me, they have around $1 billion, I believe, in their endowment. Companies. Yes, the companies like Google and Facebook and Amazon, etc., are pouring money into this, right? Military, and they're just nation states. This is just the beginning. Just the beginning. If you're watching this for the first time, you don't own any crypto, it doesn't matter what. If you get into crypto, like, this is so early that this is going to be absolute insanity over the next 5 or 6 years. Like, absolute craziness. Another thing to take a look at when you see this, because now you're understanding, right? You're like, oh wow, this actually shows the growth rate of those organizations and companies and governments researching this, right? But what's also interesting is the largest search engine in the world and the second largest search engine in the world show similar data. What am I talking about? Google Trends. Google Trends tracks all of the search volume across the world. So we put up worldwide from 2004, because that's when they implemented this, until present on the web, right? So that's Google searches for the word crypto. What does that look like the beginning of? We have this flat area where it's just flat as hell, right? We went from nothing in crypto in 2009 to $2.5 trillion roughly of market cap. I've paid attention to Tesla, and 60 days ago I stopped paying attention to Tesla after 13 years to focus only on crypto. Because I was paying attention to Tesla when they went from 0 to $1 trillion. During that same time, crypto went from 0 to $2.5 trillion. Tesla's growing extremely fast. Tesla is stomping the fuck out of all the other people who are supposed competition in terms of automakers, as well as energy companies. And they're absolutely dominating, and crypto is growing over twice as fast as Tesla is. If you understand what I'm saying right here, we're about to get into such a transformative time in history where we have a gargantuan transfer of wealth that has never taken place in the history of the world. This is the largest search engine in the world for the word crypto, and you get to see this is the beginning of that S-curve. This is 2017, right? We had a peak right here, 2017, 18, with that run up, drop off. But the new drop off is still higher than it was back here in 2016 and whatnot, right? So we just had the same thing, right? In 2020, right? The government's like, F you, biatch. And as this plays out, we're going to see this again. This is not going to come back down to 2019, 2018 levels. This is going to be sustained at a higher level, guarantee it. Right? If I'm wrong, in 2 years, you can crop this and throw it in my face. I will not be wrong. This is the beginning stages of this. So how does this play out in crypto? Well, if you look at crypto.com, they do I believe it's an annual or semi-annual report of like the state of the nation type of report on crypto. So I went through and read this, and pretty interesting in some cases, some of the information. This is the growth rate. So crypto owners reached 295 million. Global crypto adoption rates stood at 3.83 as of the end of 2021. Let's go back to that chart again. We are just past the 2.5 mark. We're at 3.8 according to crypto.com. There's another research company that I also found that also confirmed, or at least had similar numbers to what crypto.com has for their research. So we're over here. We're somewhere between 2.5 to 10, right? We're in this neighborhood around 4%. What happens during this time period? To get from 0 to 4% roughly, according to their report, right here, it took us 14 years, 2009 to today, 13 years. The next 13 years is going to put us close to 100%, period. That's how S-curves work. And especially if you go back and you look at history here we go, right? You get to see the acceleration of adoption of new technology. This is on the web. If you go over to YouTube search volume, the second largest search engine, you get exactly the same picture. Exactly the same picture. Guys, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you need to really be paying attention. You really need to be paying attention. This is going to be extremely transformative. Like, you have no idea what is taking place right now. This number of 3.83% as of December 2021, it went from 106 million to about 300 million, a 3x in terms of the number of people holding crypto. A 3x in a year. A 3x in a year of the number of people holding crypto. So let's take a look at my estimates for this. So this is just hypothetical in here because mine are far more aggressive than this, and I'll put mine in here in a second. I literally took the data from the crypto.com chart and look, this is just, let's explain this. Okay, so this is the world, this is the population, right? The number of people who own crypto right here. If it's in green, then it's above 50% of the of the world population, right? We're 8 billion people. This is above that, so it's green, right? Change this to 2, it changes, right? Now, what is this? What is these numbers here? This is the new people in crypto. How many people, if you're watching this, how many people let me know in the comments, how many people have you personally told about crypto? And then also, how many people have you personally gotten into crypto over the last year? I personally would guess the number is higher than 1.5 people, right? I've got probably 1.5 people in the last month into crypto, right? Because I understand reality. I understand what's happening, and I want to make a fuckload of money, right? That's why I'm sharing with you guys, so you guys can do the same thing. Now, if we assume that on average, right? Because I'm going to get way more than 1.5 people into crypto in 2022, right? But if we assume on average, if the data from here is correct, there's about 300 million people, 295 million people in crypto globally, and each one of those people, on average, gets 1.5 new people into crypto, right? Because there's going to be crazy fuckers like me who have a YouTube channel that are, helping people or explaining shit, right? And then talking, you're not going to be around me and not hear about crypto, like in the physical world, in the real world, right? Because that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm excited about. That's what the future is. So if we assume that 295 million people on average get 1.5 new people into crypto in the course of an entire year, that's maybe their spouse and one other person, half of another person, right? One person just gets in their spouse or their partner or whatever, and another person gets in their partner and their kid, or something like that, right? They're not out there actively talking to people like I am. If you just assume that, and I think these are low. I think these are low. That means by the end of 2022, there's nearly 450 million people globally holding crypto. And if you're watching this channel, if you're literally watching right now and you watch some of the videos on arbitrage, if you watch some of the videos on pricing and stuff like that, you are in like the fraction of the percent of people globally who understand things at a very nuanced level. Because most of those 450 million people that are going to be in crypto by the end of 2022 don't understand that. 2020, and so my personal take with the elementary understanding of crypto is that this could be closer to 5. I know I'm going to get way more than 5 people into crypto in 2022, right? But I don't think that necessarily is the case for everybody else, so that's why I put this down at 1.5. But if this is just 2 people, then by 2025, we're in 2022. You guys have, if you're watching this and you don't understand the implications of this, like, you rewatch this video. Rewatch this video. This is going to be, think of how cell phones have transformed things. This is going to have such a transformative effect because it's money we're talking about here. If everybody gets in 2 people throughout the 300 million people on average get in like a spouse and a friend or a kid or an uncle, right? That type of thing. It's in 2 people in the course of an entire year. And we have countries like El Salvador adopting that as legal tender, right? Now, that means by the end of 2022, there's 600 million people roughly in crypto. And this is only a double. Remember, in 2021, there was a triple, went from 106 to 300. So not quite a triple, right? 2.7 or something, like a 2.7x. Going from here to here, this is not a double either, right? And my number, and I think this is closer to 5 personally. Where these things are going to get so crazy. Like, what does this curve look like? Next to my head, what does this curve look like? Guys, this is about to get fucking nutty as fuck. It's going to be insane. Another thing from this report here. If we extrapolate a similar rate of increase in 2022, we are on track to reach 1 billion crypto users by the end of 2022. This is coming from the Crypto.com annual report that was released in January. Their estimates, yes, and obviously it's an estimate, is, look at this, 1 billion people in crypto, 1/8 of the world population. I'm not necessarily as bullish as that in my estimates, but I do, actually it's way over that. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of getting to 50% as I'm saying that. I think that it's definitely possible to be at that number by the end of this year. Potentially 1.5 billion. I mean, if I'm conservative and I just say people on average only get in 2 new people a year, that's 600 million. It's still only going to be 2025 before half of the world is using crypto. Guys, if you're not in crypto, start fucking educating yourself. Start learning. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you press that bell notification. This is going to be insane. And if you want to support the channel, you can check out the links down below. I'm trying to win a contest right now with my buddy. if I can get more followers than he has on Twitter by July 30th, 2022, July 30th, 2022. Link down below for Twitter. So if you like this content, jump over to Twitter anyway and just press the follow and then retweet something. If that's the case, you've got about $10,000 that I win if I can beat him by July 30th. So if you enjoy the content, if you want to help out, jump over to Twitter. If you want to if you understand and grasp what I'm talking about in this video, then you should definitely follow on Twitter. There's a link down below. There's another icon that will come up around my head here where I might be flexing or something, and that's my other channel on fitness related stuff. Also, fitness related stuff on the fringe, like we're doing here, not many people are talking about. So check out that channel if you like fitness related stuff, health related stuff, biohacking related stuff, drugs and how you can manipulate things in certain ways. Check out that channel. If you like Instagram stuff, I'm very active on Instagram. Also, there's a link down below. I appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace.